It's that super flow, no, she my flow. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's that
If we want to access a method, then obviously we have to create an object. Then so means until and unless you create an object, you cannot call the method, right? So that is the first scenario. What I'm saying is, if you want to call a particular method in the class, first you have to create an object, and then only you can access that particular method using the object, right? In a scenarios where you have a requirement such that you wanted to do some operations during the creation of object itself, right? What I mean to say is, if you have some scenarios wherein which you have to do something, you have to do some work before the object has been created, right? So that is nothing but the constructor. So means that particular set of instructions whichever you wanted to do before creating an object, that is nothing but, so means that set of instructions you will be writing in a constructor part. Example I'll tell you. Say for example, if you are developing some gaming application, right? So in a gaming application, before the game displays for you, that means a game starts displaying you, there will be some internal process need to be done. That means it has to load a GUI for you, graphical user interface need to be loaded before it displays a content to you, right? So that particular loading process will be written in a constructor part, right? So once it has been done, that means once object has been created, then we are saying that it is already having these many features, right? Say for example, every person will be having two hands, two legs, right? Two eyes, all those things, right? Now what I'm saying is, when an object has been created, object in the sense everything we can consider as object, right? Even a human being is also an object, right? When I'm saying someone as a human being, right? So does that particular human being implicitly possesses some features, like hands will be like this and eyes will be like this, it will be having this much pixel ratio of eyes, all those things. What I'm saying is, during the creation of an object, during the creation of an object, if whatever the instructions you wanted to execute, those instructions are written under constructor. That means while creating an object of a human, there will be something written. So means some features written for that particular human. So all those features will be written as a part of a constructor, right? So once a human being has created, he can do so many different methods he can execute. That means he can grow, he can walk, he can talk, he can jump, right? So all these things are the methods. Okay, once an object has been created, it can use all the methods. Now can I say that this particular object, that is a human being, can't he create another human being? Say for example, doctor is operating, that means if a person is ill, then the doctor is repairing him in the sense it's a process, right? So object can create object. So means have a clarity of what is a constructor and what is a object. So means what is a method. Constructor will be executed during the creation of object. Constructor will be created during the creation of object, right? Method will be executed after creating the object, right? So method cannot be executed until and unless you have an object with you, right? So to create that particular object during the creation, if you want to do something, those instructions are nothing but a part of a constructor. Now it's a clear, right, difference between a constructor and a method. And in today's class, we need to discuss one more important topic, that is nothing but a method overloading. You might have a known method overloading already, but we will just go through a few scenarios and a few cases with respect to method overloading, right? So let us see what is a method overloading. Methods that have a same name but a different parameter list and a different definitions, right? So those things are called as overloaded methods. Okay, so method overloading is used when objects are required to perform a similar task but using a different input parameters, right? Name will be the same, but based on the arguments you are going to pass, it will be performing a different operations, right? So if you have such a requirement, then you will be going with the method overloading, right? When we call a method in an object, Java matches up the method name first and then the number of types of parameters to decide which one of these definitions to execute, right? So once you are writing obj, that means I am considering obj as an object. If you are writing obj dot say some obj dot sum, right? So what it will do, first it will matches whether you have any function which is called as a sum, right? If it found a match, then it will check whether whatever argument you are going to pass, whether those number of arguments are matching with respect to a function definition or not, right? If it matches, then it will execute that particular definition, right? So as you have a more than one function with the same name but a different parameter list, that means you have a same name but the definitions are different. Definitions are different in the sense it is giving you a one name many forms, right? So one name has been given, but you have a more than one definition for that particular function. So it is called as polymorphism. Poly in the sense many, morphism in the sense types or definitions, right? So method overloading increases the readability of the program. You can easily understand like all these functions. If I'm saying some 10 functions with a name called a sum, so then it will clearly says that all these 10 functions are related to a summation of numbers, and but it might be taking a different arguments, right? So it will make your program more readable, and you can easily understand if there are any cases of errors with respect to any of the functions, right? So any doubts with respect to starting 4 points? See, I'm considering that you know the methods already. We have seen a different types of methods like a passing argument, getting a return value, all those things. So I directly going to a method overloading definition, right? So what the definition says, you will be having a more than one method with the same name, but arguments list will be a different. Okay, so different ways to overload a method. There are two ways to overload a method in a Java. First one is by changing a number of arguments, and the second one is by changing the data type, right? Changing a data type in the sense one function sum of, right? Say for example, there is a function called a sum. So it first sum might be taking a 2 integer values, and the second sum might be taking a 2 floating point values, right? So in this scenario, my arguments are different, so data type can be changed. If we see one example, I think it will be a clear, right? I have just created one prototype, and it says there is something called a class calculation, and I have directly written a main method in this particular class, right? So let me start with the method definition. So let me write something like void this is a one function which is taking a 2 integer arguments, right? Then this is another function which is taking 3 arguments now, right? So what we have said, if a function name is same and a number of arguments are different, then it is called as method overloading. Are we doing a method overloading now? Yes, we have a 2 functions with the same name, but a number of arguments are different, right? So first function is taking a 2 integer values, and a second function is taking 3 integer values. That means number of arguments are different now, right? So within this particular statement, I will not write any bigger instructions. Just I will print a sum of those A and B,
right? So system dot out dot println.
Let me just write whatever is the value of A plus, right? Copy, pasted the same value, but here it has to print a summation of A plus B plus C. Clear with the methods defined? One method called a sum, which is taking a two integer arguments, and another method with the same name, because we are just what I mean to say, justifying a statement of a method overloading, right? So what a method overloading says, it says function should have a same name but a different argument list or a parameter list. So we are creating a functions with the same name and we are differing a number of arguments, right? So inside the definition, I have just written a system.out.println statement to print a summation of those things. Okay, so now from the main function, main method, how can I access these particular methods? You need to have an object of that particular class. Yes, let me create object of that particular class. Calculation obj is equal to new calculation. Created object, created obj dot sum of. If I want to call the first method, I need to pass a two integer arguments, passing those two integer arguments. If I call a second method, I need to pass three arguments. So passing the three arguments for the second function. Are we following whatever the statement says? The statement says method overloading in the sense two or more functions having the same name but different argument list. Yes, we have prepared those particular methods, and from a main method we are creating object of a calculation and passing those arguments. Shall we run and cross check what should be the output? Compilation system dot, why it is showing package does not exist. Yes, it should be capital. Who taught you Java? Yes, exit code is 0. That says it's working fine. Yes. Justified a statement of a function, means method overloading. Two functions having the same name but a different argument list. So we have created two methods with the same name and passed a different argument list, and it's working fine, and justified that these two functions are overloaded functions, right? So what was the slide was saying? So method overloading is possible. Two different ways of a method overloading. First one, by changing a number of arguments. Did we do that one itself? So what we were saying, different ways to overload a method. First one is by changing a number of arguments. Yes, this example is changing a number of arguments. Second one is by changing a data type. Means now I need to change a data type, right? So what a data type I need to change? I need to change a data type of this one, right? So let me change the data type a bit. Instead of taking a int, let me take it as a float a, or let us go with the double only. Double a, comma, double b, right? So now my interest is to calculate a sum of a plus b, but while passing the argument, I'll be passing a double values, not an integer value, because that has to match that particular argument, right? Whether methods are overloaded still? Yes, same name, but argument list is different because we have changed the data type of those two things. First one was a number of arguments. Number of arguments were different. First it was a 2, then in another function it was a 3. Number of arguments different. Second, what it says is you can perform a method overloading by changing its data type also. Yes, now I have changed their particular data type and just cross checking whether it can work or not. Yes, we are able to achieve method overloading by changing their data type. Clear with the clarification? We were just concluding the points whatever has been written in a slide. So first point says method overloading is possible by changing a number of arguments, and the second point is saying the method overloading is possible by changing the data type. Any questions? Let me show you the program, and with respect to program also, if you have any doubts you can ask those things. Ruby Kumari has asked the one question saying that in a previous classes you used to take a class calculation as a separate and a main method in another class, and why you were writing in this particular fashion. Ruby, both the ways are okay. See, in the starting classes, I told you a scenario. Whenever I take two different classes, you consider that main method, wherever whichever class is having a main method, you consider it as a office, right? And other classes you consider it as your classrooms, right? So in this scenario, you just assume that office itself has come to your classroom. Possible, right? A person from office can come to your classroom and sit and cross check whatever is the attendance, what how many are paid a fees, what are the details you want, we can cross check that one. So this scenario is something like this. If you are not comfortable with this scenario, you can create a two classes. One class let it have a method, another class let it have a main method. So you can do. I just wanted to show like even this is also possible. This way also you can write a program. Because in a PPTs whichever I have shared, so example has been written like this itself. So later you should not feel confused like why it has been written like this. So I just wanted to convey both the ways are okay. We have to discuss some 7 scenarios. If you have any doubts with respect to basic working, then you cannot understand those scenarios. Okay, so if it is clear, then quickly we will move to a different scenarios of, yes, of our method overloading. 1 second.
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sir, what if I use the different variable name but same data type? It's still showing the error, sir.
I didn't get you. Once again, I'll share you the program. Okay. So what was your question?
Like if I'm using int in both places, sir, like in void sum and the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm using the variable name different, like A, B, C, D,
Okay, okay, okay. See,
again it's showing the error.
yeah, it will show error because it won't consider that you are doing a method overloading. Why? Because I'll tell you, the scenario is whenever you call the function saying like a object dot sum is equal to 10 comma 10, right? So we have a clearly described that these 10 and 10 are actual parameters, and this a and b are nothing but a formal parameters, right? So when it is a formal parameter, if it is a formal, then how exactly this particular definition will be there, I'll tell you. If you are writing like this, if you are writing void sum of int a comma int b, means how a system will see that particular method will be something like this. It will be just a saying what data type you are passing, and it won't show what is the name of a variable you have given, because it is least bothered about what a name has been given for the variable, because it will just copy that particular value whichever has been sent from a actual parameter, it will just copy to a formal parameter. What I mean to say is, if you are writing any function definition, your JVM or any compilers will be least bothered about what name you have given for that particular variable, right? So it will be seeing a definition in this fashion itself, right? So according to a compiler, now in your program, so means according to this example, you have a two methods which are written something like this, right? So double comma, it will be seeing a methods in this particular fashion, not with respect to their names, right? Say for example here, if you are writing instead of a int, if you have written a so means instead of a double, if you have written a int, then obviously how that particular JVM will look at into that particular function. So these doubles will be changed, and it will be written something like this, right? So in this case, it feels that you are defining a method again and again, right? So in this case, it will show you an error saying that the definition for a sum has already been given, and why you are creating once again. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right? So how the JVM will look at a function is in this fashion. It is least bothered about what name you gave for the variable, right? So that's actually very good question asked. Let us quickly see different scenarios, and you have to answer me. I'll just display you a different scenarios, and you have to tell me by understanding a scenario, you have to just conclude, can I execute a program in that particular scenario or not, right? So once you see the scenarios, it will be clear for you. First, method overloading by changing a number of arguments. Is it possible? Yes, that is how you have created a method overloading. We said that method overloading is possible if you have a different argument, some means different number of arguments. Yes, this is feasible. Second, method overloading by changing the data type of argument. That is what we have seen with respect to both the examples, right? So in a first example, we have taken a different number of arguments. In a second example, we have taken a different type of argument. Yes, let us see the third scenario. Method overloading, changing the return type of a method.
No.
Is it possible to have a method overloading by changing the return type of the function?
No.
No, right? So what I mean to say, see, whenever you are seeing a scenario, you should have an imagination in front of you to specify whether it is yes or no. You should have an imagination for that, right? So what I mean to say is, what I'm talking is with respect to return type. Return type in the sense, I have a one sum, so means, say for example, I have a int a and a int b itself. Int a comma int b, right? So now both the functions have a same argument and a same name also. In this case, we cannot say it as a overloaded. Yes, I came to know. What is my question is, if you are changing a return type, right? So now see, one method is of a void type and another method is of a int type, right? So in this case, can I say the methods are overloaded methods? Right? If I am writing return, means if I am writing a int sum means it will be returning some integer value. Right? So when it is integer, let me just pass int value itself. Understood a scenario? So means scenario heading says that if a return type are a different, means only we need to keep in mind that you have a different return types, but else everything is the same, right? If this is a scenario, will it execute or will it show any error? That is the question. If it executes a fine, then you will be in a confusion like which method it will, so means it will be running, right? So one method is not expecting any return, so means it is not returning any value. This method is not returning any value, and this method is a returning some value, right? So let me create one more variable into C, which is equal to obj.sum. This is my assumption, my thinking, man. I can think in a different fashion. I might say now something like, sir, here you are not equating to any variable, so it will be executing this particular void sum, and here you are equating to a sum variable, so it might be executing this particular sum. This can be my assumption and this can be my thinking, right? So in this scenario, if my thinking is correct, if my thinking is saying like, for a first sum, it will execute this particular function. For a second sum, it will execute this particular function. I may not be displaying a value of a C, but it should not give me any error if my thinking is correct. Let us just cross check, is this the case or will it show some error? Yes, when I try to compile, it is showing an error saying that method sum int comma int is already defined in a class calculation. That means what it is saying is you have already given a definition, but why you are defining it again, right? So then what is the conclusion then? If you have a different return types, right, keeping all the other things as the same, if just a return type is a different, you cannot say that methods are overloaded, right? So when you are concluding a method about overloading, your return type does not come into picture, right? Is this a conclusion and a scenario is fine? Understood? Shall we move to a next scenario? Yes. See, the intention of explaining it this much is when you are writing any examination or if you are answering any interviews, so once you see the statement, like once you are explaining about a scenario, you should be in a position to write a program and explain like how exactly it is, right? If you don't know, so means how the things are working, then you have to bahat a program, which I don't like that, right? So clear with all the three scenarios. first two scenarios can be done and a third scenario cannot be overloaded if you are changing a return type. Yes. What is the third scenario? Overloading main method. Oh my god. Can we overload a main method? What a question asked actually. What a scenario need to be discussed. Yes. What it is saying is, yes man, even you are saying a main is also a method. Can you overload a main method? That is what it is saying. That means now it is not bothered about all these existing methods. Now it is asking about what about your main method. Answers. Can we overload a main method?
Yes, sir.
Can
You
we?
did it already, I think.
We did already, huh? Okay. So let us see once again. Methods will be said as overloaded if they have a same name but a different arguments, right? So this particular method is something like a wide main string args, right? So let me just create a one more method, wide main. I'll not pass an argument itself. Even this is nothing but a method overloading, right? I'll not pass any argument. One main method is taking one argument and another main method is not taking any argument. So let me copy a simple system.out.println statement, paste it here, just write something like from main overloaded method, just to cross check, right? So from my main method, so means existing a main method, let me call that particular method obj dot. So not passing any arguments because in a definition no arguments were specified, right? So let us just compile. If it is working fine, then we can come to a conclusion that a method main can be overloaded. Errors, semicolon is missing. Where? Yes, yes, thank you. For one semicolon, how many errors it is showing? Compiled fine. When it is compiled fine, then it is clear that you can overload a main method. Yes, let us see the output. Yes, it is displaying 2030 and from main method, or so means from a main overloaded method. So all the statements are visible for me. So that concludes that you can overload your main method also, right? So hope clear with this scenario, not to make much of a, so means not to waste much of a time. Which is your next scenario? Method overloading with type promotion. Oh, what does this type promotion means? What does a type promotion says is, say for example, let me remove this particular main method, it may be confusing for you. So type promotion is something like this. I think here we have already done this one. Let me just make it like this. Right. Right. So I have just reverted back my program to a normal state. So I have two definitions. One is taking an integer argument and another one is taking a double argument. Right. So now, say for example, here in this definition, I have something like this. Double B. Can you understand the difference now? Right. I have two functions now. First function is a sum, which is taking two arguments like a int and a double, and there is one more function which is called as a sum again, but it is taking two double arguments, right? Now from the main method I am passing two integers, and for one more function I am passing two double values, right? Okay, so leaving about a data type, if you cross check a number of arguments, whether this particular function should call your first sum method. Yes, because the number of arguments are matching, right? Does it matching its data type? What type of arguments you are passing from a main method? You are passing two integers. What type of argument it is expecting at a definition? It is expecting int and double. Is it matching now? Not matching, right? Even though if it is not matching, then will it do something? Will it execute or will it show any error? It will show error, right? Let us just cross check, will it show error or not? Interrupted exception. How come interrupted expression? Okay, let it be. Interrupted exception is not a problem, but it has exited a code with a 0. Code exit with a 0. That means it is saying not a problem, you can pass our argument, something like that, right? So what it is doing internally, let us just cross check, will it show output or not? Yes, it's showing output also, fine. It is performing. See, now the output it is showing as a 20.0, not a 20, right? So what the definition saying is type promotion will happen. Type promotion in the sense you might be passing an integer, but when you are expecting, so means when you are receiving, you have a double value. Whether double is greater than an int, double is greater than int. So it is saying this int, so means this integer value can be easily put into this particular double and it can perform addition, right? So answer, if you observe, it is getting an answer in a double value itself, not an integer, right? It is not considering this 10 as a 10 itself, it is considering it as a 10.000. So after addition also you are getting a 20.000, right? So this is nothing but a type promotion. Okay, so does the reverse of this is a feasible? That means if I'm passing a 10.5 from the main method, right? So now what is the data type of this particular structure? 10 and a 10.5. That means int and a double, right? So in a definition, I don't have to specify int and a double, rather I'll just specify both integers only, right? So let me just cross check, will it works fine or not, right? So keep things in mind. From a main method, you are passing integer and a double, but in a definition, you have given int and a int, right? So now you are trying to put bigger value into a integer. Done well. Which one it has executed? 2 times it has executed the second function itself, not the first function, right? If it has executed a first function, you might have a get an answer in integers, but now you are not getting an integer answer. What it has done is it is calling this particular method, right? So it is 10 has been copied here and the 10.5 has been copied here. So you are getting an answer in a float itself, right? So what is the proof? What is the proof that it has executed only this particular method twice? Let us just cross check, put some statements here, right? Here I'll say this one is first method, right? So this is my first method, right? So this is the addition performed by first method, right? So this is my second method. That means the addition performed by the second method. Now if I run my program, it has to show me twice executed this second method itself, not the first method. I hope you are understanding whatever changes I am doing. See, both the times it has executed a second method itself, because the type promotion has been done with respect to a 10 and a double and a 10.5 and a double, right? It cannot truncate a value, right? If you have a scenarios of a truncating a value, then it will not work in that fashion, right? So type promotion is possible, type demotion is not possible. Do you want to check? Means you can change and cross check. Hope you are clear with the scenario 5, whatever I have shown you. Another scenario, method overloading with a type promotion of arguments if a matching found. So we have seen both the ways, right? So both the ways we have seen. Wherever it matches, right? So then it will promote that particular set of arguments, then it will execute, right? If it don't have that particular feasibility of a promoting, then it says cannot be done, right? Only promotion is possible. So means it cannot demote a value and then execute the things. It's not possible, right? So let us see one more scenario, last scenario. Method overloading with a type promotion in case ambiguity. Yes, this is a very beautiful case which I like personally, because this will put some what I can say confusions in the mind, right? Now what the scenario is, int a long b, or else we'll take a double b only. From the starting we are using a double only, why again a long here, double B, right? Double A into B, right? Now just tell me which method will be executed.
You see errors. Okay.
Are you, so means question is, are you clear with the changes? What are changes I have done? For a first method I have given int and a double, and for a second method I have given a double and a int, right? So from the main method I am passing 10 and a 15. That means I am passing int and a double value. Will it match to this particular int and a double?
Yes, sir.
Matches. Second one, 10 and 10.5 and 20.5. 10.5 and 20.5 are nothing but two double values, right? So double has been matched here, but this particular 20.5, you don't have any data type for that particular 20.5. That means you are doing a demotion of the values. Will it perform in this particular case? Can it do? Can't be done, right? So shall we just cross check? See, with respect to object dot sum, that is the second function, it is saying that argument mismatch. That means possible loose, so means data type conversion is not possible at that particular place. Clear? Let me change this particular value a bit. In this scenario, execute is fine, right? Okay, so in this scenario, when I am calling a sum function by passing a two integer values, so how it works is, first it will check what is the type of this particular argument, int. So it will cross check which particular function is matching this particular argument. Yes, int is matching with the first argument. Yes, it can go for that particular method. So what is the second argument? Again it's a int. Can it match with a double? Yes, this means actually double is a bigger data type, so it can copy this particular integer to a double, right? So this match is a possible. Do you have any other methods? It will just a cross check. Yes, 10 will be cross checked with respect to a double. Yes, integer can be copied to a double, so no problem with respect to this. Yes, matching. Again 10 will be checked with respect to this particular integer. So here there is a possibility of executing two methods. That means both the methods are satisfying this particular function call, right? So in this situation, so what it will do? Will it show error, or will it say something like ambiguity in that particular execution, or will it execute whichever method is matching for the first? So means whether it will call a first method, or it will show you a error message, or it will execute a second method, right? So let us just cross check by executing the program, compiled, right? So it is showing a error. So what error it is showing? So it is showing a error, something like error reference to sum is ambiguous. That means it is in a confusion, as there are two matches with respect to this particular call, right? So you have to make sure that once you are calling a function, so there is no ambiguity with respect to the definition of the function, right? So this particular call should match to any of the one definition, but not for the both definitions, right? Clear with all the different scenarios, type promotions? Yes. Okay, so let me just display whatever the things has been written with respect to a PPT. With respect to all these scenarios, you have a few examples given here, right? So for a first scenario, method overloading by changing a number of arguments. This is an example. By changing a type, this is an example. Changing a return type, example has been written, and say there's a compiler error because you cannot have a same function, so means function with the same name and same arguments just by changing a different argument, so means return type. It's not possible. So it is give you a compile time error, right? So overloading a main method, actually here when we discuss a static keyword, this example will be more clear for you. For a time being, you stick to an example which I have taken, which I have explained previously. You stick to that particular main method overloading, because here we are keeping everything same, and we are just changing the argument list. Here it is a string and here it is a int, right? So for a time being, what you keep in mind is, once you are making some method as a static, no need to create object of that, right? So later we will discuss what is the difference between constructor and static method and all. Later we will discuss. For a time being, you keep in mind with respect to this example, if you are working on this particular example, if you want to try this particular example, for a time being, keep in mind that if you are declaring any method as a static, no need to create an object of that particular thing, right? We will discuss what exactly is a static later. Okay, if this example is confusing, follow the example which I told already. Like just create one main method and call that particular thing using object, right? So even that can be done, right? Method overloading with a type promotion examples we have seen, and we have some means here is a description like which method will be executed at which place. So with respect to type promotion, you have a small diagram like int can be promoted to float, can be promoted to long, can be promoted to double. Int, right? So arrow marks has been given. Character can be promoted to int, short can be promoted to int, byte can only be promoted to short and int. It cannot be promoted to any other data type, right? So if you have a float, that can be only promoted to double, it cannot be promoted to any other data types. If you have a long, that also can be promoted to float or can be promoted to double, right? So a small chart, so which explains what are the feasible ways of promoting a particular data type, right? So with respect to our next scenario of a type promotion, one example, and with respect to last scenario, it says like ambiguity will be there. So it will be in a confusion which method need to be chosen. So it will show you error like already definition has been given or a no matching of this particular method found, right? So that's about method overloading and the different scenarios of a method overloading. If you have any questions, you post the questions. See, I might have taken exam, a class in a different way also. I might have just scrolled all those slides and I told like, here this is like this is like this. So ambiguity, not ambiguity, all those things. But I felt like if I take example, modify that, then only you will be putting some efforts in a thinking like how exactly the function will work and all. So I prefer writing a code and explaining, not just scrolling through the slides.
Sir,
Ah,
can we promote byte to double in float?
I didn't get you. Can we?
Promote byte into double in float.
No. Byte means byte you can promote only to short or int. It cannot be promoted to float or double. A question in the chat box. Sir, can overloaded method be overridden? See, overriding in the sense you are willing to give a new definition, right? After overriding, if you are giving a one more definition, that means if you want to overload it again, can be done, no problem in that. See, what is a method overloading? Overloading in the sense name will be a same, only name will be a same. Argument parameters, means arguments will be a different only, right? Entirely overriding concept is a different, overloading concept itself is a different. No relation between those two. They are entirely different concepts. Overloading a method is completely different and overriding method is a completely different concept.
Sir,
Yes.
so we cannot override method overloading. Actually, they are different.
Do you know overriding method?
Overriding means is for dynamic binding. Yeah?
See, when you are creating a particular class, if you don't know the definition of any method, you will be making that particular method as an abstract.
Yeah, sir.
Abstract. When you make a particular method as abstract, later you can give a definition for that, right? If a method is abstract, then only you can override it. If a method is not an abstract, then you cannot override. That is the first point.
Okay.
if you are overriding a method, later if you are giving a new definition, that means first you have written a small instructions for that. After some time you fail to give a few more instructions, then it is something like overriding a method again and again, but it cannot be a overloading. It is something like, first I told you, so means first I have created one human object. For a human object, I don't know how to write a code for a eating. That means he doesn't know how to take a food. That means eating process he doesn't know. Now what I did is, first I explained him like how to have a meal by hand, right? So that is one way of a overriding. That means eating with the hand is a one overriding method. Later I felt like, so along with this, he should be knowing how to eat with a spoon also, right? So now I gave a one more definition also, saying that through spoon also you can eat. That means now I am overriding a already overridden a method once again. I'm not overloading that one. Understood? If you are giving a new one more definition, means again you are overriding only. You are not overloading that. Overloading in the sense different method. Overriding in the sense giving a definition for a same existing method. And the condition is that a method should be abstract initially.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more question.
Yes.
Can we make overload main method?
Overload main method. Yes, we have
Main
seen
method.
example. No.
Hmm?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Main method can be overloaded. See, we are talking about overloading. Overriding is different. Main method can be overloaded. Right? When I say overloading, then a function should have a same name but a different arguments. Here is an example of a overloading of a main method. Can be done. Overloading of a main method can be done. Okay, so with respect to this last example, you have a two methods. One is a sum and another is also sum, which is taking a int and a long, and this one is taking long and int. But when you are calling a function, you are passing a 2020. That means this particular 2020, now it can be accepted by this and this also, because this 20 is means integer is matching with this int and the long is matching with this long. Yes, feasible. It can call this particular method. At the same time, this 20 can be promoted to a long and this 20 can be directly taken by this b. That means for this particular call now, you have a two definitions given, right? So both the definitions are matching this particular argument, right? So in this case, it will show you a ambiguity, saying that you have given a two definitions. I am in a confusion which definition need to be taken. Thanks for your time and have a nice day.